Hello everybody, welcome to my second Q&A episode. I've had quite a lot of questions, so I've had to filter a couple out, sorry, just because otherwise this video is going to be ridiculous. So any other ones I'll try and put in the next video, or I will answer via just normal text rather than a video. Anyway, let's get started. The first question this week is from Eric Ziola, who asked, what exactly is the purpose / use / syntax of Byval in custom functions? I use custom functions, but I don't know anything about Byval. So Byval, and I've got an example here, is a keyword that you can put before your parameters that have been passed into your custom function. So here I've got an example of a function, and all it does is it just changes the value of the parameter that's put in, and then puts it out to the screen. And then my test sub up here puts the value as unchanged, runs the test function, and then message it boxes the variable out before and after running the function. So at the moment I've got it set to Byval, and if I press play, it's going to say unchanged, changed, unchanged. And that's because it's going through here, it's set to unchanged, it's reading out as unchanged, it's running the test function, and it's passing this value. It's passing it through here as the value of the string. It's not passing the string itself. It's changing then the new variable. It sets up a new variable when you do Byval. So this is separate to this one up here. And it changes this one, messages it out, flips back into here, and then we're no longer looking at that same variable. Now, this doesn't seem too kind of intuitive at the moment. That kind of just seems what would normally happen. But the difference is you can actually put in byref in here. And what this does is it changes it from being by value to passing the actual variable through. It's kind of like pointers in, say, C++ or something like that. So here, what it's going to do is it's going to pass this variable through, it's going to put it in here, and then this my value is actually going to point to the same storage of memory as this variable up here. So they're both looking in the same place. So when I change this variable here, it's also going to change what's stored in this variable up here. And if we press play now as an example, it's going to say unchanged, changed, and then it's going to say changed again, because when we come back into here, the custom function we've got down here has changed the value in the storage here. Even though it's a different variable name, they're both looking in the same place. So that is the reason why I put Byval in, and it's better practice to kind of designate whether you want it to be Byval or byref. If you leave it blank, then you run the risk of it deciding how it wants to do it itself, and then you haven't got full control over your code, and then that's inevitably going to lead to bugs, which nobody likes at all. So Byval and byref, two very important differences, and hopefully that makes sense. And the next question then is from Han Zhang, and do you have any projects for us to complete so we can practice what you teach? Sorry if I'm pronouncing people's names wrong. You guys are all over the world, so I'm not going to be able to say everyone's names right, sorry, but hopefully I'm doing my best. So do you have any projects for us to complete so we can practice what you teach? Yes, I do. If you pop onto the website, which I'll put in the description below, and click on the forum, and then for whatever tutorial you're doing, it's split by the different ones. If you just go inside one of them and then click on activities, and then I've got a handful of activities in those which I will add to if you keep pestering me for them. I've only got a few in at the moment, but yeah, check them out. If you've got your own, stick them in there and let me know how they come along, or whatever ones you'd like to see. I haven't really done too many because I don't actually have that much time to work on it, so I tend to concentrate on giving you guys content rather than giving all the activities and stuff. But I should be getting better now I'm a little bit less busy with work. Anyway, so next question is from Oscar Carlson. So, hi, I have a sub that creates a Word doc and writes it in it. I wonder how to create equation in Excel doc and copy it into Word with VBA. The equation for Excel itself, for example, y equals x squared plus the square root of x. I want the equation itself to be created in Word Equation Editor after it's copied into Word. So for those of you who don't know what the Word Equation Editor is, if you go into Insert and then Equation and then Insert New Equation, and it just lets you type cool equations in there with all the different symbols. And then you've got, yeah, there's just this better way of putting your formulas into Word. So I can copy the text box into Excel that contains the equation in Equation Editor, but the equation does not have the proper format. So really here, the question is, how do you add things into the Equation Editor using VBA? And it's quite simple to do. I've got some example code here. And generate equation. So we have a range, which is just going to take our selection, so we don't really need to worry about that. And then an object equation, which just is going to take the equation, set it up. We're then going to set our range to be the selection, and we're then going to put some text in it. Now, at the moment, this isn't really going to do anything. We actually have to put it in the equation editor. So in order to do this, we do set our range equals the omouth.add object range, and then we just stick that into our object equations, and then we use this build up procedure, which will build it into an equation. Now, that doesn't really need to make sense, because all you really need to do is just change this section here, and I'll put some comments in here. So change string to desired formula. So you just need to switch this into your code that you are using to put the text into Word. I just use this instead, and it will put your equation nicer and beautiful. So hopefully that helps, and then let's go on to our next question. So this is from Darren Zhu, and what I really need help on is regarding algorithms and calculation speed, as well as finding out the limitations of VBA, as this can only come from an experienced VBA programmer or someone who really understands programming. I hope you don't mind these kind of questions. Quite happy if you just reply a few lines if you don't feel like putting a video. I would much prefer to talk about this in a video. I think it's a very valid question. And the limitations of VBA are something that's quite important to understand if you're going to be a serious VBA developer, and they're also quite easily apparent if you do quite a lot of Java or internet development, like with HTML5 and JavaScript. So let's talk about the limitations first, and then I just want to come back onto the advantages, because I don't want to kind of put too much of a bummer on VBA, because it is very useful for what it's intended for. But in terms of its limitations, one of the biggest ones is everyone that you are sending your applications to has got to own Excel. And in most businesses this is fine, but obviously if you're just sending it to kind of customers and things like that, relying on them having Excel is not always guaranteed, especially if they're running kind of OS X or Linux. And yeah, so that's a big limitation, is all of your customers have to have Excel, or your clients. The next probably big thing is that the variant types that it uses as default have quite a lot of greater overhead in terms of storage than kind of traditional strongly typed programming languages. So it quite often means that people resort to being quite lazy and making their code inefficient. Where you can set up a variable without actually declaring what type of variable it is, it will automatically put it as a variant, and this takes up quite a lot of extra memory. And if you're not declaring your variable types, then you're going to get lots of inefficiencies in your code. And there's quite a few little Excel VBA kind of idioms like this, that where they've made it easier to use the code, but by doing so they've kind of encouraged you to be lazy and a little bit less efficient in your code. Another big limitation is that object-oriented programming, although it's in VBA, and I've got some tutorials on class modules and things and how you can include creating your own objects and things, it doesn't really support object-oriented programming in the kind of same sense that Java does. So Java, is centered completely around object-oriented programming, and because of this, it makes it really easy to create very powerful applications. Whereas in VBA, it's kind of more quickly developed kind of workaround applications, and you don't have, or at least I've never come across people really using kind of polymorphism, enumerations, and things like that. It doesn't exist, and part of the reason for this is because it doesn't really need it. In Java, you kind of need to use polymorphism and inheritance and things to take over other objects and kind of implement your own designs. In VBA, it's kind of all standardized already, and because you access into the component object model for Windows, it doesn't really matter that you haven't got the objects anyway. What it does mean is that virtually all VBA applications look the same. It's quite hard to be original without getting quite complicated, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means it's really easy for other people to pick up and apply things to it. The other thing is it's based on VB6, so VB6 is just as powerful as, say, C++, but it is a bit deprecated. It's been replaced by VBNet, and then in terms of actually using it in Excel, it's kind of been replaced by Visto, and then more recently it's been replaced by Apps for Office, which uses a HTML5 and JavaScript and a little bit of XML to just point you in the right direction, and you basically just create a kind of web app and import it into your Excel file. So they become really powerful, and a lot of the new applications, so rather than add-ins, you've got Apps for Office, and I'll probably be doing some tutorials on them going forwards. But this leaves VB6 kind of left a little bit, VBA for a little bit deprecated and not entirely supported by Microsoft, because they're kind of trying to push towards the new apps for Office. So in this sense, there's kind of another limitation of VBA. On the flip side, there's a lot of advantages. So it's very well suited to what's called rapid application development. I've been talking for so long that my screen started dimming itself. So it's very easy to create very quick and useful applications in VBA. It's very easy to use, easy to learn language, and you very quickly create something that's actually meaningful and kind of gives you a lot of efficiency. So it's used a lot for teaching people programming because it's so easy to learn and use, and has a lot of applications in even just day-to-day life, and kind of very not as highly skilled jobs. Quite a lot of people can still use VBA very easily. Maybe not to the same level as kind of accessing kind of active data objects and databases and all those kind of things, but it's kind of simple recording macros and just doing stuff anyone can do, and that's the beauty of VBA, is how easy it is. It's also, because so many companies use Excel as like the standard thing, you can kind of give yourself quite a good edge over people in jobs that aren't so much about programming, but more about like business analysis. VBA becomes very useful because you can kind of cheat on certain things and get a little bit ahead of other people just by having kind of automated things. So yeah, in conclusion, I'd say the limitations are, there's quite a lot of them, and if you are genuinely looking to be a programmer, VBA is probably not the right place. But if you work with Excel a lot, then absolutely learn it 100%. It's fantastic. You can create full-blown applications that have quite high efficiency anyway, as long as you know what you're doing. So probably talked about that enough now. Any more questions from anyone, please drop them in the comments below, or I've shown you the forum, drop onto the forum and drop them in there as well if you want, and check out the different things I've got around the website. I've also added a Twitter account recently, so if you want to catch me on Twitter, I'll have the link in the description, as well as Facebook as well. So catch me on your social medias.